So this episode, we're going to be talking about encryption and compression functions. So what's the difference between hashing and encrypting, and how can you compress things when you're storing them in the database? So I have a SQL file here that's going to update the people table. So if you've been following along, you've already got the table with the people. Great. This SQL file will do the update. I've added 3 columns into it, one for compression, one for hashing, one for encrypting. If you haven't been following along, you can still just run this one SQL file, open any database that you've got, and you can come over to PHP MyAdmin, go to the import tab, and import that SQL file to give you the people table that I'm going to be working with. Okay, so these are the functions that I'm going to be talking about right here. We've got compress and uncompress, which are for compressing and uncompressing strings. We've got SHA-2, which is the function that we're going to be using for hashing. And I'll put a little note here for that, hashing. And unhex is a way to take a hex value or a number, a hex string or a hexed number value, and convert it into just a plain string. So unhexing it. And then the last 2 ones are Aes Encrypt and Decrypt. And AES just simply stands for Advanced Encryption Standard. There are in MySQL a whole bunch of methods here. I'll provide this link in the description for you as well. List of all the available functions, but you'll note that there's quite a few here that are listed as deprecated. And in version 8, which is the next major version of MySQL, even more of this has been set aside and dropped. So I'm going to be talking about those 3 sets, the compress, uncompress, AES, decrypt, and encrypt, and then the SHA-2 function down here. There is a SHA and a SHA-1. We're just going to be using the SHA-2. It's the best of the 3. And with those sort of 2 pairs and that one standalone for SHA-2, those will give you everything that you need to do hashing, encrypting, and compressing. All right, so let's jump into it. What I'm doing first here, I've got the compression stuff already coded in here. I'm taking this string here, ABC tilde ABC. I'm taking that string and I'm saying repeat it 100 times just to give myself a really big string. I'm going to display the length of that. So how many bytes it is the full bytes. And then I'm going to take the same thing and I'm going to call the compress method on it. And I'm going to display it in a column called comp bytes or compressed bytes. Then I'm going to take that compressed value, I'm going to save it in a variable, and we're going to run the select to get the length of the uncompressed version. So we should be able to get back to the original value. So let's run this. Here we are. So the full version, so this is the ABC tilde ABC, those 7 characters repeated 100 times, gives me 700 bytes. Okay, great. That's what I would expect. Then the compressed version is coming back at 26 bytes. So we can see that it is actually compressing that string. Great. Simple to use, just this one method, compress. You put whatever the string is that you want to compress inside of there, and it does the work. Now, the uncompress, when we run the uncompress, we get back to the original value. So, compress, uncompress, it can't get much simpler than that. It's just one for compressing, one for uncompressing. And you pass in the string that you want to manipulate. Okay, now, these 3 are just variables that I'm creating. And that's going to move on to our next section. I'm going to comment out the other stuff that we have here. Just so we don't have to use that. Okay. Now these 3 variables, what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about encrypting and hashing, what the difference is. So a hash is when I can take a string of any size, any length. I run it through this formula, this hashing formula. The result that comes back is going to be this garbled hexadecimal string. But the cool thing about it is it's always going to be the same length. It doesn't matter if I passed in 1 letter or a 10,000 page book. I'm going to get back a value which is always going to be the same length. For this case, if I'm using the SHA-2 with the 512 byte key, I'm going to be getting back 128 characters. Always, regardless of what I'm passing through into this SHA-2 function, I'm always going to be getting back something that is 128 characters if I use the 512-bit key. All right, so that's hashing. That's what it does to it. With hashing, though, you can never get back to the original value. There's no way to undo this calculation that's been done. So whatever the formula is that it runs it through, it garbles it so much you can never get back to the original value. So what use is that? Well, if you give me your password and I hash it and I store it in my database, I've got the garbled version. Then, the next time you visit the site, you want to log in, you give me the password again, I'll run it through the same hashing algorithm, get a garbled version again. If the two garbled versions, the 128 characters, if those are the exact same, I know that you gave me the proper thing, because it's always going to give me the same result every time I hash it. So if the two garbled versions are the same, you gave me the same original string. So that's how hashing works. There's also a thing called salting. You'll see probably quite a few references to that online if you're looking at hashing. What you would do to salt something, it's like if you're cooking and you want to add a little bit of salt, it changes the flavor of it. So if this were the original string that you wanted to hash, so I want to take this and I want to hash it to come up with my 128 characters. To make it a little harder for people to tell what the original value was, we can just simply append to the end of that some other value. And this other value is going to be the salt. Something like that. So this is going to be the salt value. And you can just use a concat function to combine two different things. You say, okay, this is going to be my random string that I'm going to use as the salt, and I'm going to add this. Every time somebody gives me a password, I'm going to add this to the end of it, and then I'm going to hash the two of them together. And that's what is going to be the result. So we take this thing that we're given, we add the salt value to it, and then together, those two things in this variable, I'm going to run the SHA algorithm to hash it. And with the SHA-2, we're allowed to provide a number here, and it can be either 224, 256, 384, or 512. These are the four possible values that we can use. Those are the size of the keys that get used to do the hashing. Okay, so that's hashing. Encryption gives you the ability to encrypt, which is the same sort of idea as hashing. You get this garbled version at the end. But I can also decrypt it. And to do that, we have this key string. So we've got a string and a key string. This is the key that I used to encrypt it. And to decrypt it, I take the encrypted value, and as long as I've got the same key as I did here, I will be able to get back to the original value. And that's the difference between hashing and encrypting. Encrypting, you can get back to the original value. Hashing, you can't. That's the primary difference. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Well, doing the SHA, that's simple enough. We hash it, we get this value. Then if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to do this inside of an update statement. Let's say we're going to update people. That's the table that we're looking at right here. And we added these new columns for hash pass, encrypt pass, and compressed. So let's go into here and put the hashed pass. So update people, set hash pass equal to, and really it's just this. We're going to take this thing with some salt added to it, pass it in through this, and this is the variable. So you can do it either way. You can write the whole thing out, SHA-2, and then the size of the key to use, where person ID, there's only one record in that table right now, and this is the ID of that person. Okay, so if I run that, go, says one row affected. It says that it worked. Let's go take a look at the value. Select hash pass from people where person ID equals 10,000. All right, run that, and we'll take a look at the value. There it is. So this is cut off. You can always go into the options. PHPMyAdmin is always going to hide part of the text to try and make everything fit on the screen better. But you can choose the option for saying full text and click go. That's inside the options. So here it is. Here is the hashed password. That's the whole thing, the 128 characters. That is what we created. This is the hashed value of my password. And it doesn't matter how many times I do this my password thing through the hash with that size key, I will always get the same result. All right, so that's hashing. Now let's put the encrypted one in there to see what it looks like. One thing to note here, in the table description, the hash pass is a varchar 128. It's always going to be a 128 character string. So that's why we defined it that way. For the compressed password or compressed string, whatever the compressed thing you're putting inside of here, it needs to be a var binary. And the encrypted one also needs to be a var binary. And then you can provide the size that you want to use to store that. So we could, if we wanted, take this compressed thing from up above, and we can do that inside of here. We'll say update people, set hash pass to that. We're going to set the compress pass equal to that. And then the last one, inc pass equals, and we use that final method from up here, Aes Encrypt. Inside of here, the first part is what is the password that you're going to put in there? Well, let's just say it's going to be this as well, my password. Then we need the key. What is the key that we're going to use? Well, a great way to create the key is to do this. You take some value, some key string, something that's going to be random and unique, and you run the SHA hashing algorithm on that. So I get this 128 character key. Now we can also take that and unhex it. We're going to be getting a binary string with that we can use then as the key. So I can do this at key. If you don't want to do that last step, the unhex, you can just do this. You can take this, it'll take this 128 characters, treat it like a string, and use that string as the key. If you do the unhex, you will get a binary string here, which you can use as the key. It doesn't really matter which one you use, as long as you are consistent in using one or the other. And when you do the decrypt, you have to use the exact same. So down here, right now, if I'm selecting hash pass, compress pass, and inc pass, without doing any decryption on it, I'm just going to select the three things that we've set inside of here. Oh, I forgot my comma here at the end of this line. There it is. All right, so when you're doing an update, commas separate each of the values that you're going to be passing in to update. There we are. Okay, so we got hash pass. That is the hashed value of that password. Compress pass. You can see this 0x. This is an indicator that this is the binary or the hexadecimal value stored inside there. It's a binary string. So that's the compressed pass. So that's that 700 characters that we compressed down into a smaller value. And then this is, right here, that is the encrypted version of the password. So we are getting the encrypted version of the password back as our final thing. That's what's actually stored in that var binary field. So this one's a var binary, this one's a var binary, and this one is a var char. So it's a character field. All right, now let's do a decryption as our last step. So we've got hash pass, compress pass, the encrypted pass, and then I want the decrypted version. I want to get back to that original value. Aes Decrypt. And inside of here, you can see up here, it's just the reverse. So encrypt does string and then the key. Decrypt is the binary string, the encrypted one, and then the key. So the encrypted one is that. It's that field from the database, the one that I want to get back to the original value. And then my key is whatever I used to encrypt it, which was right here, that variable, @key. Okay, we go. And this was the original, so this is what we're expecting to see in this final column. We should get back to this original value. Okay, there's the hashed pass, there's the compressed text, there's the encrypted password, and there's the decrypted password. So we got back to the original value by using the Aes Decrypt. Now, there's one last thing that I wanted to point out here. In the definition for this one, there's this thing right here, the initial vector. Depending on what kind of encryption is set up on your system by default, when you install version 5.7, you don't need this initial vector. It comes up with the random starting value to use. If you don't have that type, there is one type of encrypting that does need an initial starting value, so this initial vector. And we can create that with a thing called random bytes. Right here, there's a method on the page in the documentation, random bytes. So you would create a 16-byte random byte value, and then that's what you would pass in here as the initial vector to get started. But like I said, the default is it will not require this. So it's just these two values, the string and the key that you want to use, and then the encrypted string and the key that you use to encrypt it. Now, I shouldn't have to say this, but I will. Never leave your key someplace that's going to be visible in your code. Make sure you don't leave it in a comment, leave it on the web page anywhere, because if somebody has the key, then they can get all the passwords that you've got in the database. All right. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. I'll provide links to the rest of the MySQL playlist. I'll provide the link to that SQL file so you can create this people or update your people table. And I'll also create a link to the documentation down in the description for you. And as always, thanks for watching.